what's the kind of, you know, psychology been as a tech founder, that kind of stuff. So I'd love to get into that, but also any things that you're really focusing on wanting to talk about at the moment. Obviously I can steer it in whatever way you want.
At the end of the day, whatever you want to talk about that's going to generate the most traffic for you, because that's what it comes down to. I'll talk about whatever, but whatever is going to be, where's this going? Obviously on your YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube and podcast.
Like yeah, so you want it to make sense for the algorithm, because if your title was too many things and it's too, so right when we get into the podcast, but I suppose really we'll have like have yourself a focus, like a niche topic for the first 10 minutes. That will make sense.
The audience that I'm targeting with the podcast is really like AI opportunity seekers. You know what I mean? People that are like, I want to get into building app. I want to get into this tech space. How do I actually do it though? What are the steps for it? Because that's a really big niche for people searching. So yeah, that's the kind of angle that I'm going with it.
Yeah. The future of starting your own tech business, or how to learn about tech. I suppose I always think about what's that title going to be that will get picked up on the algorithm that's most most search at the moment, and then we can use that as the starting point, and then we can elaborate as we get into the podcast, talk about whatever then. But
totally, it will be the kind of like some kind of wow number, considering you don't have a tech background. Do you know what I mean? Like he grew his tech company to this, or whatever, he raised this much investment.
Well, we have a valuation. We have a formal valuation already of 5.4 million. Holder is already at a valuation of 5.4 million. Yeah.
Amazing. So that kind of thing is epic. You know what I mean? Like he managed to do this without having previous experience. That kind of thing is always a good angle, isn't it?
Yeah, I got Paul Avins who's dying to get involved on Friday.
Really?
Yeah, because I've had a lot of like lucrative offers about it, because people have tried to do this, but they don't have the ignition of a brand, because this is winning the hearts and minds. And yeah, I've had a lot of offers. Investment's tough. I've got to be honest, I'm really well connected when it comes to investment, but it's been tough because people try and push the boundaries and dilute you, and I won't budge, because this will be, I'll sell, I mean, your titles could be, I will sell this for more than 100 million in 4 or 5 years. There's no if, buts or maybes. The market's too big. It's a unicorn market. So we crack the UK, we crack Europe and America. So
amazing. Well, I'm going to get into all of that. I'm excited. I'm excited for my own things. I'm building my own software and my own app, so I'm excited to pick your brains about, just for my own curiosity.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, we do it. We'll talk about the data room.
You are?
Ask me at some point about the data room, because that was a big learning curve.
The data room.
How
do I phrase that?
Well, I did. So a data room essentially is it is the heartbeat and centralized system of the business. So everything that happens in the business must go by the data room.
Okay.
So I never knew that. I do now.
Right. I'm gonna try and weave that in without knowing anything about it. I'll get creative.
Do it.
Fab. Okay. Amazing. So let's get into it. How long have you got, by the way?
Oh, I'm all right. I'm not really doing anything now. I'm too tired. I've trained too much.
Okay, good. Right, let's get into it. I'm hoping my internet's going to be fine. I'm in a cabin down the end of my garden at the moment.
Love it.
So we're having a house reno. It's wild. I get like men in high vis walking towards me, and I'm like, no,
leave me alone. Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Welcome, Aaron. Welcome to the Make More podcast. How you doing? Oh wait, no, I need to start that again.
Go again. Go on.
I'm gonna edit that bit out. Do it. I've rebranded. Okay. Well, anyway, welcome to the Carly Myers podcast. How you doing?
I'm very well. I'm excited to get into it. I'm really looking forward to this one.
I'm so excited as well, because I'm the biggest nerd. So anytime I can spend time talking about AI and tech and nerding out on all of that stuff is my favourite pastime. Not many of my friends want to talk to me about this stuff, so this is great. I'm so excited.
I'll quickly say now, I'm kind of the same now. Never used to be, but I'm well into it now. So yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, I think, you know, when you find that you actually start to understand it, I mean, it's a whole like rabbit hole that you go down into, isn't it? Like once you start grasping a little bit, and then that opens another door, and then that opens another door, and then before you know it, you're deep into this whole world, and it never stops. Like the AI world is a crazy space to be in at the moment because there's no end to the learning curve. It's just
Yeah,
moving so fast.
it is.
Yeah, it's a wild space. So I wanted to, if I've been doing a deep dive on you. I've been looking at all of your stuff across all platforms. You are omnipresent. Congrats on that. And I think you've got a really, really strong personal brand. And the reason that I know you've got such a strong personal brand is that when I look at you across all your platforms, I could really pinpoint what I think your message is. And I think that's always a really good indicator. It's a strong personal brand. And what I get from it is your core kind of personal message is getting out of the 9 to 5, really living that kind of, you know, freedom-based life by design. And you're super passionate about that. And I just want to know, what is driving you to really spread that message so strongly?
Yeah, so the core message is really passionate. You know, something I'm very strong on. As you said, my message across all platforms, I do come across really strong and again very passionate about it. It just comes from, I think, just very early on in my 20s, going through the problems in the workplace and just realizing very early that there was such a huge amount of control over you, and the risk is so heavy. Like, you know, and having a child, I really, again, I think becoming a father really early made me realize that I really want to live life. Like, I want to travel to countries with my son. I want him to see things, and I want to be there to see him to see things. And I get great joy out of that. And I just realized, well, the 9 to 5 is not going to give me that. And if anything, I don't want to fall into what so many, and I'm going to say men, because I used to work with guys who would come in, you know, they couldn't wait to get away from their wives, they couldn't wait to book a holiday, and I just didn't want to be that person. And leaning into my natural traits, I'm outspoken, I can be gobby, I never compromise who I am, and I just knew I didn't fit in to the workplace. And I believe, you know, life is to be lived. So that's where that message comes from. And it's not about earning the most amount of money. It's not. And that is something that is missed out amongst many messages. And I'm one of the only ones that says you don't need 10K a month. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I like that because I think a really interesting thing for me is I searched for like passive income for years. I really went on that passive income journey, and I would follow all these women that were like sitting with a laptop on the beach, and I was like, oh my god, that is living the life. And now I actually look at my day now, and I always live my day as I want to live my day, not like, oh well, in 5 years time I want to live like this. I focus on each day. And it's actually very simple. And I think you're quite similar, aren't you? It's so simple. It's like, just if I can look at my calendar and there's no Zoom calls on it, I'm living the life. But really simple stuff.
It's so simple. It's so simple. Everything is so simple, but we overcomplicate it because I think the problem, Jason made me laugh the other day. We did a podcast and he said, I'm campaigning for less awareness. And it made me laugh because it's so true, because people get distracted with the amount of information out there. Like, you know, I'm sure we're going to get into it in some of this, and for your audience, is like building a tech company, building a business, whatever it is. The crux of it is not that hard to get going. It's very simple. It's like making bread. It's only got 4 ingredients, you know. It's really simple. And I talk about 4 evaluations. But we overcomplicate it. We overstimulate ourselves, we procrastinate, we watch everyone else, and then we think it's impossible to obtain what is actually very possible. And we get caught up in how much money we make. You know, like, I don't need to know how much money you make, how much you make. I just know that at 20 to 1 in the afternoon, you're able to sit here, and I'm able to sit here. Who gives a hoot how much is who's earning more money? We're both able to sit here doing our own thing. But we're so bothered about pleasing everyone else and keeping up with the Joneses.
Do you know, I had a total moment of joy before this. I was sitting watching Married at First Sight and eating a sherbet dib dab. That is pure joy.
Yeah.
If you haven't experienced it, I think you should do it.
Yeah. It's on the list
That's
now.
what I worked so hard for.
It's on the list.
So I want to dive into this whole tech journey that you are on right now. You are right in the thick of it. And I know that for so many people, there is so much opportunity out there with AI and building apps and software and things like that. And for so many people, they will think, oh, but I can't do that because I don't have a tech background. I wouldn't even know where to start. There's so much that could go wrong that I don't know. How do I even do it? And I just want to touch on quickly, you don't have any background in tech, do you? You didn't go
No.
to university and learn how to do all this techie stuff. So what's been your kind of experience up until this point now of being like, I'm going to start a tech company? What's been your experience in the entrepreneurial space?
So the driver, I think, is important to talk about why. So I always like to ask the question, why am I starting a tech company? Do I love last mile? Not really. Do I really care that, some people miss their parcels? Not really. I know it's a problem and it's a means to an end. Again, it's because I want to be able to sell the company to be able to never ever have to worry about money again. And there's only really two ways now, anyone listening, that you're going to be able to give your family the life that they deserve without any financial worries. And that is, number one, you either inherit a huge amount of wealth. Bless, I love my mum and dad, but they haven't got a pot. Or you build a business. That is it. Yes, you can build a very, very lucrative personal brand, but that's a slightly longer process to generate generational wealth. So I am happy to embrace change and step outside my comfort zone. Yes, I have no experience in tech. I'm bad at maths. I didn't go to college. I didn't go to uni. I had one GCSE in PE. So, but I'm very forthcoming when it comes to, I'll learn it, I'll start, and I'm happy to make mistakes and embrace failure. And I aggressively attack everything, which everyone else can do. And I've actually found that I quite like it. And I feel that tech really scares people at the moment. I was reluctant because I was like, some of the stuff I just don't get. Coding I can't do. Thank God I've got a good business partner. And also we have a tech co-founder in Holder. But Exit 9, my business partner, can code and do all Claude and everything. But obviously I have to learn it. That's it. Learn. Key word in capitals. Learn. And don't be afraid. I'm in the thick of it. So any questions I can answer, but it's exciting as well.
So the process, so your app is Holder. Did that come around because you found a problem and you were like, this is something that I feel really strongly about changing. This is something that is an industry that I can disrupt, and this is a problem that I want to solve? Or did it come around because you were like, I want to get in the AI space, I want to get in the game, and I want to build a tech company? What problem could I solve with a tech company? What was your route to getting into it?
For the problem, not so much the tech. So Holder is actually a software. So it's a 3-tier software, and it's a fallback layer. And actually, it's a data behavior, routing, and infrastructure. There's an app element on the customer side, which is great, which loads of benefits, earning money. That's on the user side, but actually it's an API that gets integrated on retailer, courier, and on the user, and we have our own integration, as hosting it. So in 2019, I actually saw the problem. Years ago, I found the concept, but I actually sat there in my last job many, many years ago, and because I worked in logistics, and I saw the problem coming up time and time again. But last mile is an industry that is just so outdated. They never really look at it because the companies make too much money to look at a problem like that. So
for those that don't know, what is last mile? And when I say those that don't know, that's me.
Yeah, so last mile is essentially from when you make an order, basically from dispatch to receiving that parcel. Everything that could happen, from the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between is last mile, down to CO2 emissions, problems on road, fraud, missing, stolen, late. That is classed as the last mile, hence going to the customer, right? So there's many, many metrics that need to be solved, and I created a business plan years ago, finished that business plan in 2019, actually went to BBC Angel, a Dragon, kept the relationship. She ended up being a speaker at my event. She's Sarah Willingham, and then lo and behold, I was kind of told, look, we can't do anything right now. And years later, as we speak now, Sarah is very interested at the moment. So yeah, and it was a problem in a market. I didn't know anything about tech. I just knew it was a problem. I'm very much vision guy. That's the joke. I'm the vision guy. I'm a good leader and I can build teams. And yeah, Holder is an absolute beast. There's so much to do. And any questions around it, I'm happy to answer and go into. But it all started with just wanting to provide a solution to a massive problem.
Okay, so you get the moment. I'm sure it was probably in the middle of the night when you get the idea and you're like, I'm going to do this. Yeah. And then by the morning you're like, I've got the business plan. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
What was that next step then? Were you like, I want to find a co-founder? What was the next step after you said, this is something that I want to pursue?
Yeah, so I realised this is huge. So I think for anyone listening, depending on how big your idea is, because an idea is just an idea until it becomes something, right? Until you take action. And I was actually just sat literally behind me. And I said to my other half, I said, I got to do it. I'd left it years. And I said, I got to do it. Like it's an itch I've got to scratch. And she said, well, do it then. And then one of my best friends was my old company was in logistics, and he's a clever guy, and I rang him up and I said, do you want to go for a walk? Because I knew I'm going to need a team. Like I can't do this on my own. And we went for a walk, and 1st of June last year, 2025, he said, I'm in. He said, I think it's great. I can't believe you haven't told me about this. And that was it. We went and we just attacked it. We trademarked, we started the company, we did everything. We put the business plan, we brought on a fractional CFO, put our hand in our pocket to get everything started. And, this is turning into what will be a mega beast. So, yeah.
So you got your team set up. I'm literally going step by step. I want the whole blueprint. So you got your team set up, and did you ever think, shall we get investment for this or shall we bootstrap it? What was your kind of thought process around that?
Well, I like to bootstrap. Like Peak Performance, we bootstrapped. Like we haven't, taken on no money. We've never taken money out, but it's made money. We've just sat on it because we wanted to grow it. Another conversation. But I realised I couldn't bootstrap this because it is going to need investment. However, what we've been able to realise, because we put the pitch deck together, what I will say to anyone listening, because I'm always thinking, okay, what will they be thinking? I have built a great network, which everyone could do. So I instantly made lots of phone calls. I sat down with Jason for many days. I sat down with Andrew Holber. I've spoken with Simon Squibb. I literally got all my friends who have sold companies, and I've said, I'm at the beginning, what do I need to do? So I took on loads of advice. And it was build a team. So that was the first thing, build a team. And then I realised this is going to need a huge amount of money. Number one, bring on board a CFO for equity and a shareholder, because you really need to understand your numbers. And when we realise the numbers in the data room is that, yes, this is going to need round 1, round 2, potentially round 3, but I don't think so, because we'll be self-funding at that point. But raising money is the trickiest part, but you've got to get really creative. And what I will say, one thing that I've had the benefit of, I'm not the engine by any means, but I am the ignition of it, because having a personal brand, and I have to emphasize this, it is becoming borderline impossible to start a business of any sort without having a brand to launch it. So I will say that, and caveat with that is that if anyone is listening to this thinking, oh my God, I'd love to start a tech business, or I've got an idea, I would double down yesterday on your brand, because you're going to need that leverage. And people have wanted to work with me, and I built the team for free thus far because they want to be a part of this, and I've sold the dream. Yeah. So your relationships during the beginning phase is so important.
So when you say doubling down on your personal brand, if someone doesn't have a personal brand right now, I mean, they're hearing it from everyone. It's such a strong message from everyone. Daniel Priestley talks about this all the time. What do you think they should be doing? If you could go back right now and you didn't have a personal brand and you knew that you wanted to launch this kind of software, what would you be doing?
I think I would probably find something where you just really want to solve a problem that you are passionate about. I do think you have to have an element of whatever you talk about within your personal brand. And I will say it's overused. I hate saying the word, I've got to be honest with you. But you have to add so much value to people's lives, and you have to be really passionate about it, and do it without any expectation of earning money. And people need to believe you. They need to know that you're authentic and you're being very, very transparent, so that you develop trust. So down the road, when you launch something, it's so much easier to have that ask and get them to support it. So I've got to be honest with you, that, and this is where I think people have been led up the garden path, is that there's no overnight wins here. You have to put yourself out there for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, depending on your output, to build a great community, a lot of trust, and then leverage that. But again, little caveat as well off of that is, if you are going to build a personal brand, I would go on an absolute rampage mission of networking with people who can open up many, many doors. I would be very vulnerable, have no ego, no chip on your shoulder, and go ask a lot of questions to the right people who could speed this process up. Because I'll just say, I've been able to move this pretty quick because of the people that I know.
Yeah, it is so true. The networking thing, I learned that really late on, like how valuable it is. And actually one of the most powerful things for me has been podcasting, because you get to ask loads of questions. Like, amazing people will come on because you're giving them a platform as well, and then you get to spend half an hour or 20 minutes after asking your own questions. And I find it so valuable for networking. I find it an amazing strategy.
It's how I started. I did podcasting for 2.5 years, and some of my best friends, like Julius Dean, I know Daniel very well, Rob Moore, Matt Fidesz, there's many other people, Simon Leslie. Benji Leslie has been one of the, not only such a great friend, Benji Leslie has been one of the best connectors in the world for me. That boy is connected to everyone in the world. It seems like it. He has opened up so many doors, and he's such a dear friend of mine now. And you're never underestimate your network. So powerful.
And I think as well, I spoke to Jane Gottlieb, and she's been really great connected for me as well. And a great piece of advice that she gave was to build your network. Don't think about what you can get from people, just give, because then when the time comes for you to ask for something, they're much more likely to give it to you. So in the beginning, don't think about what can I get from all of these people. Just think, how could I connect this person to someone else? How could I see how I can help them? And then you can call on that favor later on.
Yeah, and a great piece of advice that I can pass on, because it's happened to me too many times, is I've always met people without expectation, but at times come away a little bit disappointed, thinking, I don't know, I was hoping something was going to come from that. And then life of equilibrium, 12 months later, 24 months later, they came back into my life at the right time and opened up all these doors. And all I would say is, if you're ever sitting there questioning, well, what can I offer someone who's got everything, or someone who is 10 times where I am, you can apply information. If they tell you something, go away and do it, and come back and say, I did it. Because a great friend of mine, he's called Michael Howard. He owns Maris Interiors, turns over about 370 million a year, over 400 staff, very wealthy man. I've got nothing to give Michael, apart from application of his knowledge, where he goes, great, loved it. Now let me tell you to do this. That's how they win, by filling up their bucket, by doing what they say. And I've done that in the tech space. I'm really, really absorbing a lot of information, and I'm working very, very closely with people who have sold businesses. And one thing we can get into is how exciting it is that you can sell at a high multiplier. That blows my mind, how much I could sell for. It's laughable, but it's good.
It is wild. It's a wild space to get in. And I want to just touch on the investment thing, because I'm also building an app as well at the moment. And I spoke to someone who had, lots of influence, and he was like, I'm really interested in investing in this. And in my head, I was like, I don't even know what I would ask for. I watched so much Dragon's Den, and they're like, this valuation is awful. And I'm like, I don't want to go back for something stupid. How do you know how much you need to raise? How do you know how much equity to give away? Talk me through that process.
Honestly, this after the podcast, I'll show you. I'll share my screen with you, and I'll show you some stuff, because this is something I underestimated. I've raised a lot of money for people in the past, what's called junior and senior debt, and it's totally different, like raising it for assets and stuff. This, you have to be so particular. Like, even friends of mine who have got a lot of money have then disconnected the relationship that I've got with them and said, Aaron, you need to go away. You need to do numbers, and that's why I can only say you take on a CFO, because there is so much, from variables to capex to your year one, your year two, your year three, your baseline, your middle line, then your best case scenario, dilution. What are you giving away? What's a share worth? How many shares are you releasing? How much is the max of it? Just everything. How much is your pre-valuation, your post-valuation? Where's your pilot? You have to. It has to be so watertight. And it is literally, we have pages upon pages upon pages upon pages of Excel upon Excel, and it's blown my mind how much dragons or angels understand these numbers, and then company ownership and equity pools and option pools, and I never knew about any of this, and it has to be so detailed, and use of funds down to, if you're building an app, there's like tokens and expenditure on every single user flow that happens.
Yeah.
There is, and you need to know how much is that costing in the data, what server is that on, everything. When are you going to need to take on tech people? How are you encrypting it? Because people will try and hack you. As soon as you start a tech company, you'll have hackers. So all of this I learned, like, Ben and I, we have stayed up and not slept. Like, I've been sharing the journey on our highlights of, we stay up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. He stays over my house now. And we don't sleep at times, because the numbers are so important. And you don't want to lose credibility. It's all right if you've got a relationship with angel investors, but when you start branching out to new people, you have one shot. So it has to be spot on. And if you don't know that, you have to take on a fractional CFO, or bring on a CFO that you're going to pay. Yeah.
And is it mainly the fractional CFO that's kind of taught you that stuff, or have you been going down at ChatGPT rabbit holes, and have you got your own little?
Yeah, we've got assistants. Yeah, we have like holder assistants, exit 9 assistants, but yeah, there's like Grace Hardy. I managed to. Grace was straight on board as a shareholder. Like, she was excited for it. I remember Andrew at my event at the Grand Hotel. Andrew came up to me, and Andrew's one of our investors. He won't mind me saying that. And Andrew came up to me and he said, "Grace is going to be a billionaire. What? Mark my words." And I went straight over to Grace and I was like, "Do you want to be my CFO?" She was like, "I'm in." She was like, "I'm in." But Grace has a great personal brand. So we have weekly meetings, and also we had another guy came. We had another guy that came on board as well. He was fantastic. He set up all the company structure, did all the forecasting, the projections, pilot, expansion model. I'll show you after this podcast. It's so much. So I've had to learn it, because obviously I host the angel calls. So I need to know the numbers, and sometimes I've got to be honest with you, I'm winging it. I haven't got a clue what some of them. I have no idea what some of these words mean, but I understand it enough to talk about it. You have to learn.
There is a word that I keep seeing popping up, and I'm hoping that you can explain it to me, or a term. Data room.
Well remembered.
Talk to me about this.
So the data room is. I have a data room for everything now, because I totally understand the purpose of it. So if you're going to build any type of business, where's the heart of it? So think about it. You've got all this information scattered about. You've got notes. Everything. There's so much going on when you're building a business, especially if you're doing it aggressively. There's so much information that's churning out. And if you're really structured like I am, meetings after meetings, set times every single week, everything gets put into the data room. From marketing to PR, to finances, to contracts, to agreements, to invoices, to hiring, to sales, to user flows, to VSOPs, to processes, to outsourcing, anything to do with the business. Data inputting, customers, everything goes into the data room. Because when you come to sell a company, anyone who acquires it will want to have access to a data room, and they will scrutinize it. So if you have everything as you go, from the journey, everything about it, photos, anything you want to document, this data room is essentially the beating heart of your business. So it is a reference point for everything. Nothing gets lost. So there's never a moment where you think, oh, what do we do with that? Where was that? And then your team has access to it. So if you ever onboard new people, you go, right, okay, we're taking on a salesperson, like we're taking on a CRO, or we're trying to find the right CRO at the moment. It's a really important role for me. I'm being really picky about it, but it's such an important role, is that when we onboard that person and we want them to know exactly what happens in the user flow, well, we can go, okay, cool, your homework for tonight is we're going to give you private access to the user flows and our targets. So they can go in and they can learn everything. I haven't got to spend time with them because it's all in the data room. And now you see what I mean? So it's a centralized hub, and so it's so important.
Is it like a kind of, this is probably a stupid question, is it like an Asana, or is it like a central thing like that?
It's well, we run ours on Google Drive, but then all the information that comes from different software like ClickUp or oh god, what else do we use? There's some other stuff that my tech guys use. I don't even know what it is. And then that gets dumped into there. Any important information that I need to review. So I'll review certain information per week. But obviously, I don't need to know everything that my tech guy needs to know. I just need to know the crux of it. And the crux of it can get put into the data room. I can just review it. And then I can take that and have a conversation with Grace or Ben or... and then it can go from there. But it is, and if an investor ever comes on board or an acquisition gets offered to us, they will say, we want access to your data room. And then I can lock or I can unlock things that I want them to have and what I don't want them to have. And I found out, on average, when a company gets acquired, you'll be asked, you'll have detailed questions from about, on average, from about 500 questions to about 2,000 questions that you'll need to answer in about a week's time. And if you have a data room that already has most of the information, you can then go through the process of acquisition much more streamlined. So that was vital information that I would have never have known had I been told by several people to say, start your data room now. Operate, I was told, operate as a £10 million company now. When you're at $1 million, operate at 20 million, and that's what I'm doing.
So true. My father-in-law is actually going through this process at the moment, and they just asked all these questions, and he's literally not left his house for like a week. We're trying to gather all the information together. So that is definitely good advice.
Yeah.
So when was the moment that you had this thought then? You were like, right, I'm going in. When did this whole thing start?
Well, I did my research to see if anyone had actually created this concept, and there had been a couple of companies that had tried. There was one company that had been sold and bought by Doddle or something like that, very similar, but no one had cracked it. And I really looked at it. Why haven't they cracked it? It's because you've got to win hearts and minds, which is why I'm doing leafleting. I'm out there branding it. I'm creating my own adverts. I'm bringing on ambassadors. You know, I'm winning hearts and minds. And we've got loads of pre-sign-ups for our pilot, which proves that it people want it. But it's so hard, and this is why no one's done it. So I decided, why has no one done it? There is one competitor, and it's owned by an old guy, and he's been around now about a year and a half. Nothing's happened. They took on investment because they can't do what I can do. So when I realised I have a window, because if I don't, I will regret this for the rest of my life. And someone else will do this, they'll become a billionaire, and I'll look at it thinking that should have been me. And I'm not bothered about being a billionaire. Because I'll exit well before that. But I just pulled my finger out and I said, right, let's get a move on. And every day.
When was that? How many months ago was that?
June 1st, pretty much.
June 1st. Okay, cool. So June 1st then. So you got your team together. You got your whole business plan together. You raised investment. Then you decided you're going to put your pilot out, I guess, and start like building the list. So is that where you're at right now? You've got your list, you're pre-launch, aren't you?
Yeah, so I actually haven't had to, the great thing is, and we learned this along the way, I haven't actually had to request the funds yet from investors, which is great, because what I've been able to learn along the way is we think okay, we need investment up front, but actually, if I can win the hearts and minds first, I have great leverage. So what I'm actually doing is I'm creating my hubs. I'm basically creating the Airbnb of logistics. Have you ever seen that saying? It's like the most wealthiest people, they never owned it. Airbnb don't own property. Booking.com doesn't own property. It's going to be exactly the same for me. I'm going to own nothing apart from the hardware and the software and the users. So I realized I don't need investment. I didn't want that pressure. So I don't need that pressure at the moment. And also because of our company structure, I've just been very creative, and I think down to my personal brand and my passion about this, everyone who's within the team so far, I mean, it's very overwhelming for me, and I'm very blessed, is that people are willing to put in months upon months upon months of work because of the belief of the company and because of my brand. So we are able to get going, and I don't need to, I need the funds in. I don't need to do that. So until I need some, and I don't need to pay for marketing because my marketing is all for free anyway.
Yeah.
So
the marketing is what I want to get into actually, because I'd love to know what your strategy has been of, you've got this product, getting people, are you running a wait list? Are you getting people on a list first and gathering their attention first? Have you done some beta testing? What's your process for, first of all, filling up that list, but then what's your plan to actually launch?
So I just get a move on straight away. Like when I commit, so even like with Exit 9, I was like, right, I'm just going to get people excited about it. And it was the same for holders. So essentially, when we decided our pilot and we ran our pilot numbers and we knew where it would work, is that well before we ever run a pilot, I instantly, because of my brand, again, because I have that and live streaming and stuff like this, I instantly put out a survey of, it was something like about 16 questions of problems people have had with deliveries. And then how far would they travel to collect? I never gave anything away because we have a lot of USPs and tools and unique features that were unique to us. So I never gave anything away, but I already collected about 400 survey forms of problems, worst company, would they reorder? I was able to put that into my pitch deck. And then the last question was, when we go live and we announce what we're releasing, would you be interested in downloading the app? And it was about 89% that said yes. So I already had loads of people, they were sporadically, they were everywhere, right? Location wise. But once I had that was the confirmation to prove to investors on the angel calls that, look, there's a demand here. And the investors experience the same problems as well. So they get it. They're like, oh my God, that's one of my worst problems. My wife hates it, And then, because of my brand, when we went to our pilot area and we started getting in the streets and doing street interviews and started interacting, because I wear my brand and people are like, people do go, oh, what? I already see your stuff. You're launching a company. They're already very willing to support me. So they're like, what? And I'm going to get paid for it. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, we download it. And even today, like we've had loads more sign-ups in our pilot area. So, it's just action, 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 action. But I have a personal brand to do this.
Mm-hmm. So when you come to launch it, what's your plan? Do you know when have you got a launch date?
We do. It's going to be April, so we're just finalising bringing on a courier on board to pilot it. I need a few more sign-ups in our pilot area, and then really we're gonna run it. So we're gonna run the numbers again. The brilliant thing is this is an industry of just numbers. So once we prove the numbers on a small pilot, then we can use those numbers, and then we can roll it out, and then we can go into our expansion model, and then we can start actually running our revenue models. And then we know we're going to get interest from the big fish, because the big fish can't do this. Your DPDs, your DHL, they can't do this. They can't be a multi-network. So we're already aware, and I've already had certain conversations with family offices that have already said, you'll be lucky if you're in the game for 2.5 years and one of the big fishes don't say, we'll offer you a certain amount of money because we don't want them having it. And that's the ultimate goal, is to play the big fish off against them, off against each other. So yeah, it's exciting. And again, for anyone listening, I'm no genius. I'm not. I just take action.
And what would you say has been the biggest learning curve? Was there anything that's cropped up in this process so far that you're like, I did not know about that? Like I planned and I was not expecting this bit.
Everything. Everything. I'm just everything about how many hours you'd have to put in. It's exciting though. Like I do love it. Like I can feel it in my bones that I'm onto a winner. I think like I've been in this long enough to know when there's a dud, and when you're onto a winner. And this is just a test of how much you're willing to push and stay up and not sleep. And I would say as well that to really get something off the ground and learn and keep your brain healthy, it's like look after your health, because where I look after my health, I'm able to constantly learn and have very little sleep. So everything
I'm
has been
telling you about my Trevor Div Dab now.
I know. Well, I'm just, as I sip on my
I thought
electrolytes as
in
well.
the face.
No, but yeah, it's all a learning curve, but it is exciting. Like I think when you embrace change, you enjoy it more. Whereas if you're a little bit like, oh, AI or tech, you're reluctant to do it. But I'm just embracing it. It's here. I'm not going to change it. I might as well use it.
Something that I've you know how you say about like the not sleeping and you're kind of like in grind mode right now.
Yeah.
Something that I struggle with a little bit is that I've been in full grind mode for years and years and years. Like I'm relentless. I'm very similar to you. If I get an idea, I literally don't stop and I obsess about it, which is a really good thing. Then I kind of got into a place where things were very simple and very calm, and there wasn't.
Oh, let me just. There we go. It's switched. There we go.
Oh, all right.
Switch cameras. Yeah.
No worries. Then I got to a place where it was like very calm in my life. My day is quite empty. I'm only doing things that I love, and it's like a really nice balance. And moving into this next phase now of building this up and building a real big tech company, sometimes I feel a little bit of resistance of like, oh, am I ready to get into the grind again? Like, am I ready to go into that? Do you feel any of that? Like having experienced.
Yeah,
I
do. I mean, yes, because I'm already managing a lot. I think that's the thing. Like, I'm running my consultancy. I still do my finance account, although I'm not really involved in that. But my personal brand, my YouTube, my TikTok, my Instagram, my products, my 2 programs. I have an accelerator. I have a family. My health, my fitness, everything. I have a lot of commitments, and I'm still doing things as well, like building out little bits and pieces that I want to get out there. So when it was like the realization of how much time I'm going to need to put into this, which has become more apparent, and now building Exit 9 alongside it, I was like, but it is time management. And I'm it is just having allocation of hours, allocation of days. And also I've got to be honest with you, I'm able to do it because I also I'm very like me and Jason are very similar. We're totally different people, but our ways that we operate are very similar. I don't see anyone. I go to the gym. I don't mingle with people. I don't go to a cafe and sit down for hours talking to someone. I don't. I rarely come into contact with humans if I can, if I can choose to avoid it. So all those hours where other people interact, I don't. So that's hours. So and also it's a means to an end. Like I am fully aware, and I think a big message for everyone listening is we are going to be, and this isn't scaremongering, but it is the truth. In the next 2 years, some people are going to be financially crippled. And when I say like buying Asda's very cheap bread and beans, people will be doing that. And I'll tell you now, it's never going to be me. So I am willing to put my body and everything through that I'm doing now, in knowing in 5 years, I will have more money than I will ever need in my life, and I'll be living where no one will ever know me, and I'll come off all social media apart from YouTube. That's my driver. So,
I think the thing with the tech industry at the moment is that it is actually short windows. So whereas you used to build a company before and you'd think, oh, I'm in this for 10 years, 15 years, it's like a long run. I think any software that you build today it's all got to have a quick turnaround time. So you just go in, scale it up, get out within 2 years, and then you're doing something else. So that's kind of what I you know, kind of say to myself as well, it's like, yeah, it would be full on, but it's probably only going to be full on for about 2 years, and then you're out if you do it properly.
And also, one thing that is exciting, I think, when you embrace on the tech journey and you really understand multipliers, and then you do your research and you look at companies that have sold, like, for example, I can't, do you know what, I'm not even going to try and remember. It's on my ChatGPT history, but there was a company called, Door or something like that. And OpenAI bought it within 2 years. So they founded it in it was like 2024, and by beginning of 2026 this year, or end of 2025, it's within like a 2 year period. They bought that company because it grew so quick, and the traffic was so huge within this. I can't remember the actual concepts of the business, but it had so much traffic that OpenAI was like, we're taking this, and that was $60 million that was acquired for. That took them 2 years to build. That was an American company, but that's just one case. I have literally gone through, I don't know, must be 40 to 50 cases of exactly when the company was found, what did they do, what was the traffic like. I extracted as much information, and I've just validated.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Your recording stopped due to low browser storage. Is that because of my computer?
Potentially.
Browser storage. Oh no.
Maybe. Maybe have you got an account on Riverside?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I paid for it.
Is it cleared? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Is it like Zoom? Maybe have you got in your?
Oh no.
Maybe is there like a recording?
I think it says it will still record somewhere.
It will probably do like a hard record.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's still saying recording my side as well.
Is it? It might just stop recording me. That's fine. Recording me anyway.
I think you'll probably find it will do like a hard record. Like, hang on, let me. Does Riverside continue to record if? What was it? Your hard drive?
It's storage, my local storage, which would suggest my computer.
If your local storage is full, let's see what it says. Because Riverside or will cause the recording to be cut or shut. Okay, so your local recording will stop or fail. The recording may be cut short, resulting in loss of the final segment. So, yeah, you can ensure you have enough free space on your computer before. So, what you could do is, if you've got like a YouTube video stored on your on your computer right now, and it's like 5-10 gig, just hit delete, go to your bin, and then delete it off that, and then there's your space.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right. I didn't even know that it was. I thought it'd be like an internal drive that it was saying.
I know, like a cloud.
Like a cloud. Yeah. Right.
Okay. That should be gone now.
Cool.
We can start to wrap up anyway. By the way, just before we go into it, are you happy for me to ask about your valuation? Or not?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even like Exit 9, I can tell you what we're probably predicting. I'll go into that. I can tell you we're probably going to be around about 18,000 in the next couple of months. A month. Boom. So I can quickly go over that. But yeah, ask whatever.
Okay, let me just. Should I stop this and then just start it again, and then we've got the next bit?
Yeah, it's probably safer to do that. I mean, it's still saying recording for me, but it's probably safer, and then you can just piece them together whenever they get edited.
Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah.
I don't want to miss the end of it. Okay,
yeah.
Hold up.
And then actually, I can turn my other camera back on because it overheated. Right. Let's rejoin it. Okay, so this is let's join the studio. There we go. Right, amazing. I might see if this will let's see if this will run now. There we go.
Yeah, it says it's recording, so I think we should be good.
Yeah, I'm just going to switch my camera to that one. Okay, let's just plug that one in. Right, that should offer me my other one. But it's not. Hey, I don't know why it's doing that, but do you know what? It's playing silly buggers. There we go. We just stay on that one. There we go. Cool.
Amazing. So I want to talk to you just quickly about getting a valuation. So we were speaking before, and you were saying that both your companies have been valuated, and I wondered first of all, I'd love to know what that is, but also how do you go about getting a business which is pre-revenue valuated?
Yeah, so this was something that was new to me. So I didn't realise you could have such accurate valuations. Like, for example, if you were to go to market now that it's fully formed, that you actually have a valuation of what the company is worth, and that is based on obviously that's based on the revenue streams, right? And that's based on how lean it is, how scalable your projections. Again, you have baseline 1, 2, and 3, and your numbers have to be really realistic, and then they have to be scrutinized and really like crunched down to the exact number. Once that's been formally done, then you can have you can actually have a proper valuation done, which is what we've had done, and currently pre-valuation is 5.4 million, and as soon as we take on the remaining amount of investment, it will have a post valuation full market of 6 million already, and that is because it's in the tech space, because it's so lean and scalable. That wouldn't be the same situation if it was in in a physical business, for example. So and then when it comes to exit 9, I'd have to use my calculator. Again, I'm pants at maths, but I'm using both cameras now. But it's as soon as we hit around about 3,000-4,000 users, 3,000-4,000 users, which we're expected to have by the end of around about July is likely where we'd be about 3,000-4,000 users. We're looking at a monthly recurring revenue of around about £70,000 to £75,000. So, and if we continue on that trajectory of growth, which could literally be at 200-300% per year, after 2 years, we may have generated and built a company of a valuation of about $30 million. So it's mad, really, because it's in the tech space. So and a lot of it, by the way, what I have learned is data, because when private equity or whoever acquires your company, do you know one of the things that makes up a valuation of a company is that they want to know how much data you have that is reoccurring when they're buying, but also how much of that data is actually accurate data. Because what they do when private equity comes in and buys, they're taking that data, they're selling all their services and products, and they sell all that data to all the third-party companies. So if a bank, for example, private equity in France or whatever, owns banks, they're going to take all that data that you've been collecting, 40,000 users, customers. They're going to sell all their mortgages, all their banking services. Then they're basically going to sell all of that to all the third-party companies, and that's how you end up with all these emails and phone calls, because everyone's selling your data. That's what they want.
Wow. It's crazy how like the valuation is made up, and all the things that you don't even really think about will actually give you like massively add to your multiple.
Which is why Chris Donnelly focused on building his newsletter. Because 400,000 people on a newsletter, let me tell you now, that's a lot of money. That's why I focus on building my newsletter. I'm nearly at 10,000 on my newsletter. It's worth a lot of money. If I was to sell the data alone, you're talking it's worth hundreds of thousands of pounds to banks. Because it's data. So yes, if the product works and it serves the customer, great. And if it's in profit. But again, when old companies were bought, they're looking at the overheads, they're looking at profit and loss margins. Tech is profit and expense. Most of it's 80-85% profit margin, and you've got maybe 10-15% expenditure tops. So that's why the valuation can be up to 25 times multiplier. It's mad.
Exciting. Well, I guess when you see that kind of valuation and you look at that kind of profit, that's what gives you the motivation to be doing those late nighters and
Yeah,
everything like
it
that.
really
You're
is.
like, you know what? I can stay up till 2 in the morning to do it for this.
Oh yes, and that's what it is that if you commit and you really go hard for 2-3 years and you build a team, then yeah, you could really put yourself in a great position and exit for a lot of money. And like I said, for me, it's a means to an end, because we are going to go into some really tough times, and there's only so much you're going to be able to solve until computers. You heard of singularity. If singularity really becomes a thing, which I'm sure it could, how are you ever meant to design or solve a problem if it's constantly self-evolving and self-teaching? What are you ever going to solve if that happens? So I do believe the next 2 years for people who have half a noggin is going to be really important.
You're going all in on live streaming, aren't you? In terms of like building that connection, the reason my thought process went there is like what we need to really focus on right now is how we can bring more human, how we can have more connection, how we can build that community. And live streaming is a big thing for you at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, because I had a really deep conversation with Jason about this. If you look at the curvature, we're fed up of short form AI. I'm sick of seeing AI everywhere. Yeah. As soon as you find out a singer it wasn't a real singer and it was AI, you're going to go off it. As soon as you buy something from what was an AI person, you're going to be annoyed that it weren't a real person. And what's going to happen is community will come back round. Face-to-face events, face-to-face meetings. Dating. No one will trust anyone on these dating sites, because how do you know if they're real or not? So eventually community will come back round, which is why Holder has such a huge element of community, is that when it comes back round, if you're already building, again, that personal brand and that connection, and you're fine with being clunky, which is why YouTube is such a big part of my life, is that when it comes back round, if you nail it now, you'll really thrive when all of this, when all this AI, either goes tits up or takes over completely. If you've still got a community, people will really attach themselves to that, and live streaming does that instantaneously.
Amazing. You've inspired me. I'm going to get on my live streaming. You're currently sitting here with like 9 phones, like some kind of crazy drug dealer, but actually not doing anything dodgy. You're just streaming everywhere.
Yeah.
I need to get my 9 phones. My husband will be like, what's going on?
You've got to. Look at Simon Scribb's setup. I mean, that guy, I've seen behind the scenes with Simon Scribb, and like it's just cameras everywhere, the live streams, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, because that's the future. So yeah,
I'm on it. You've inspired me.
Do it.
Thanks for that.
Do it.
Well, I really appreciate you, just letting me pick your brains for like an hour. I know I've gone so rogue with my questioning, but there's just this genuine curiosity. I love seeing the process. I love seeing what step leads to the next step. And, I think there is so much to learn in this space. And I think it's not out of reach for anyone. It's not out of reach. Even people who have no tech background, just like yourself. I have no tech background either. And I think that's what I really want to help people see, that it's all learnable. You've learned all of this since June.
It is. That's the thing. I think I always come back to that, because it never ceases to amaze me that people still go, well, he must have got lucky somehow, or he must have had an advantage. No, I just apply. I never knew any of this. I'm just self-taught. And I got around people, that's the other thing. You learn from people who have been there and done it. And everyone who's listening to this podcast could build something incredibly successful. But you have to do the things that most people don't want to do.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thank you so much. I've learned so much from you today, and I'm so excited to watch your journey. I'm excited for this next 2 years for you. It's going to be a wild ride, but I'm cheering you on the whole way. I'm rooting for you.
Oh, thanks for having me on, and I'm glad you learned some stuff. It's always good.
Good job.
It's always good.
Just quickly then, where can people find you? Where can they find out about Holder, about Exit 9, about all the things?
Oh, just honestly, it's everywhere on my pages. So just Aaron Knightley on any social media platform. Make sure you get the right one on TikTok. But or just aaronknightley.co.uk. But you'll see it, because I splatter it everywhere. So if you find me, you'll find everything else.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Aaron. I'm so excited for everything you've got coming up, and I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on. Amazing.
Bye.
Right, let me end my live streams. Right, everyone, I'm off. Peace out. I'm gonna share some stuff. So, oh, I'll tell you what. I'll leave those on just a second. I will. Okay, so I'm just thinking. Actually, I don't think I can. Oh, I can share. Oh, I can actually share my screen. Entire screen. Let's then see if you can see this. Right, let's go entire screen. So, oh, I hate it when it does this.
Oh, when you get like.
I don't know why. I don't know why it does that. Okay, so in picture, allow this time. Right, can you see my Google?
Yeah.
You can see the whole page.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Right, so, okay, cool. Right, you see my Google Drive?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, like, for example, if we go on like holder data room here, so this is like all the subfolders that we have. But what I'll do is I'll just show you like the level of detail when it comes to like the finances. So let's do the expansion. So this is like commentary and assumptions, right? So like really detailed information. Let me just move that.
And did your CFO do this for you, like give you the templates and stuff like that? Or
This is all, yeah, this is all handwritten by a guy called Harry. So like if you have a look here, the sheer level of detail of everything from variable, fixed, capex, PBT, all the breakdown. So investors will want everything of this. So this obviously goes up to year 5 projection.
wow.
All this kind of stuff, and then you've got inputs, revenue. So you've got like year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. The breakdown, how that revenue is made up, and then you have to have all of this variable cost, how that's broken down, all of this kind of stuff. Then you've got fixed costs. So this is the stuff like day 1 where that money's going. So all of this kind of stuff then needs to be broken down, how that's being spent basically, because they want to know exactly where their money's going. Yeah. And then you've got, obviously, then we go on to where's expansion model. Then like this is the expansion model of the business. Just everything, and then you've got even like finances, like costings and savings, what this looks like. Just CO2 savings, like what that looks like. And then you've got, what one was this? I think this was the pilot model. So this was, oh, fucking hell. Yeah, this is the pilot. Oh no, that's expansion still. So it'd be this one. Yeah, so like this is the pilot model, exactly the same again, but based on our pilot area. There's just so much to it, and dumping ground, everything that it does in terms of like the wireframes. Can you still hear all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So like this is where it gets really insane. Like you've even got to bless this is where Ben and my tech co-founder have to work together really closely. Is like look at the level of detail, like especially with your app, like you're gonna have to do this. Like this takes some hours. So the level, you have to obviously account for every single thing that happens from the moment that it starts. So the flow chart, when they open it up, what happens? Do they have it? Yes or no? Then what happens off of that? Blah, blah, blah. There's a sequence of events for everything. You know, this is all input manually. This is the thing. You can't have... Because
your screen's not showing now. Did it come off? Did you turn it off?
Oh, can you not see it?
I did. I was before, and then something switched, I think, when it opened.
Okay, hang on. Let me go entire screen again. Hang on. Can you see this now? The user flow?
Yeah. Oh
Yes.
yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah, so like this is on a server called ClickUp. So everything from all the events that will happen, you know, and this needs to be manually inputted, you know, input.
Yeah.
So, and that's just one user flow, because this is how the tech, you know, you've got to remember the tech guys, they need to know exactly what happens. And this isn't even the designer. So that's like the customer flow. And then you've got, I don't think I've built the market. Oh no, I didn't. I did that on something else actually. I used a different customer journey flow, like what happens with the customer, just everything. But this data room, yeah, just everything, like the building of the team, like what that looks like, CVs, dumping ground. You know, you've got to go into company structure, key information, and then this is the level of detail of. This is one thing I did underestimate, is the detail. I've just sent this on to Paul actually. Is you have to do a snapshot. You still see my screen all right?
Yeah.
So like, look at the level of detail of this. I'll just flick through them. But you have to be able to go through this in a sufficient time to be able to explain it to the angels without too much text, with enough visuals. But then what's really important for them, this is the survey. So these were the questions on the surveys that I previously done. So it's kind of proving already that there was a demand. Why, you know, you have to go through why this isn't going to be taken out by other people, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously you want to explain it visually, you know, paint the story. Like we've got John Lewis style adverts that we would do. My brand, it's really important to talk about the brand and how, you know, that's going to ignite it. All this kind of stuff, you know, even the page, you know, I started really building that brand authority, how you're going to launch, what phase, what's going to separate you, the pilot model, the revenue model for the pilot, the expansion, the pre-launch time, how much you're raising, all this kind of stuff. And then the other key thing is having a really nice, just a really aesthetic, simple, you know, go-to website that people can get signed up immediately. And that's, again, you know, we spend hours making sure that the color theme, everything just was on point, and that this was a really streamlined process for people. And it looks great. Like we look like the lead. Well, we are the leading company in this, and you know, we've only just begun, but it's super important that you do, and this is just days upon days upon days upon days upon days upon days of work. So
it looks great though. Congrats. Really good.
Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there. So yeah, it's good. But just takes up a lot of time. Time management. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah.
Wow, exciting times. Well, I really appreciate your time on
Pleasure.
Here. It was good to dive into it all.
Yeah.
And then
Awesome.
I'll be
Keep me
posting it
posted.
on YouTube and obviously clipping it up and doing all of that good fun stuff. Do a little promo clip.
Yeah, if you're able to ping me over the footage as well when you've downloaded the files, I'll get my editor as well, and he'll be able to get some clips from it that we can collab with and that. So
perfect. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. All right, well, we'll speak soon
Let me
anyway.
know if I can do anything for you in any way to help you.
Amazing. Yeah, we'll catch up for sure. Amazing.
All right.
Cheers, Carly. Cheers. Bye. Right, there we go. Done and dusted. Boom. There we go. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Don't need that. Being featured, I guess, on the top tiers. Okay, right. Okay, everyone, I am going to wrap up. I'm going to cook some steak now, so I'm going to go cook my food. So, right, everyone who tuned in, I better say just a quick hello. Thanks so much for the comments. Nice. How's it going? Da 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 da. Thanks for all the nice comments. There we go. Right, I've read all those ones. There was some odd people on that chat. Holy moly. Okay, let's have a quick scroll up on here. See if I've missed. Oh, there we go. We got a Muppet who showed his face on there. There we go. There's always one. Yo, how's it going? God, they're all out. Avellino's probably gone. Right. I missed a load of people, but if you're still, I don't know if you're still on the live, but anyone, happy days. That was a good live. Yo, how's it going, man? Appreciate you watching the content. Aaron, what advice will you give to a 28-year-old who's unemployed, confused lady wanting to start life all over? Well, what do you want to do? I mean, that's the question. What do you want to do? What do you have passion for? I think that's the big question, right? What do you want to do? So you got to do something you are passionate about. That's the bottom line. You have to do something that you're going to enjoy. Otherwise, it's going to be a slog. It'll be painful. I'm doing a video tonight on my YouTube, which is, believe it or not, it's going to be like a poem style video. It's going to be very different to what I've done. And it's going to be about all the issues in the workplace and how soul destroying it really can be for many, many people. So I'm going to do like a talking video. I'm going to do it at the very bottom of my garden. I'm going to have a fire, so you'll hear the crackle and pop of a fire. And I'm going to read this video or this poem out. I've created it myself, and it's about how soul destroying a 9 to 5 really is. And if you don't wake up to it, before you know it, you'll blink and your life will be over, and you'll be thinking, what did you do? Where did you go? How many countries did you see? How many mountains did you climb? How many oceans did you swim in, So it's a slightly different style piece that I'm going to do later, but I'm hoping it does the job. Pleasure. Glad you liked the interview. Yeah, find your passion, yeah. Also, I think the other way to look at it is, what problem do you want to solve for people? I think that's probably a good way to start, is if you were to do something for other people, what would give you great fulfillment? What problem in the world do you want to solve? For me, I want to solve the problem of people being trapped for the rest of their lives, Right, okay, I'm live streaming on both platforms here, but I'm going to say cheerio for now. So I'm going to make a move. Okay, great. So now it's now thinking about, okay, how can you commercialize that passion? And when I say commercialize, is how can you get people to buy into that? How can you work with brands? How can you work with companies? How can you collaborate with other people who do similar things to what you want to do? How can you connect with people who are in the animal industry? What kind of content and marketing could you do around the thing that you do now or that you're passionate about that brings awareness and exposure? And then how can you start to monetize that? You know, you've really got to take some time to think about how can you monetize the thing that you're really passionate about. Animals there's a big market for animals, a really big market for animals. But it's about how you commercialize that message. Great. Like, okay, so teaching kids about like doing online classes, doing classes how to manage social media, how to get your mindset right as a young teenager, how to teach kids about finances, how to teach kids about managing their emotions, of not seeking validation from online. Doing online classes or seminars or workshops for kids who want to start business young. I don't know, whatever. But there's such a gap and such a market for everything and anything. But it all has to come from a place of you have to add value to people's lives. People only care if you're doing one of two things: impacting their lives or you make them money. Other than that, people aren't bothered. Make them money or change their lives, and then people are bothered. I want to make colourful resin art and donate some money to Children's Hospital. Okay, that's a really cool one. Well, I think there's a real opportunity with art. So if you have a look at some of the artists and painters and people who do sketches of all kinds, if you have a look at what they're doing on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram, look at the views, look at the exposure. Like, there's one guy in particular who does art with a paint pot. He pops a hole in a big paint pot and he hangs from the ceiling. And there's also someone else who has a paint pot on a piece of rope or whatever it is, on this wire. He has a big canvas, puts his cameras up for TikTok, records all of it in his garage, and then what he does, he pumps a hole into the paint pot and then he throws it and it creates this like beautiful pattern. And that there is creating value, like one of a kind, super engaging, worth a lot of money because there's only one of them. And really establishing himself as an artist in his garage, just because he's gaining attention, which is the biggest asset that everyone needs, by doing something so simple. But yet, as soon as he takes away the cameras, there's no value. There's no asset. As soon as he takes away the cameras and paints that canvas in his garage, it's not worth any money because he's not getting attention. He's not exposing his talent. And people who consume content love a beginning, a middle, and an end. And artwork and being an artist has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So look at the people who buy like white backgrounds, like white backdrops. It's like a box, has a little spindle in the middle. They have some light boxes on it, and they buy Nike Air trainers or Air Force. They buy plain white Air Force trainers, and then they put it in the box, in the white box with the lights on it. They record all of it. They spin it around in the beginning, so it shows the Nike Airs plain white, and then they record themselves like doing a paint, sort of like almost painting the Nike Airs, doing a specific design. They spin it around again. It goes around in slow-mo. It's in this white box. They create it into this incredible piece of content, put it out on social media, gets tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. And then as long as they have like a Shopify or an Etsy store, they can sell one-of-a-kind pair of trainers that they probably bought for about £90 or $90, and now the one-of-a-kind pair of Nike Airs or Air Force with this unique design, which has achieved millions of views, now put onto the Etsy store, is now worth $500-600 because those pair of trainers generated 2 million views. There's only one pair of those trainers that have ever generated 2 million views. Do you see where I'm going with it? Anyway, you get the point I'm making. Yeah, oh, you've just reminded me. Enjoy your meal. I need to go eat my food now, so I'm gonna say cheerio. I'm gonna go now. So yeah, thanks for being here. I'm glad you enjoyed the podcast. It's on Carly Myers. She's called Carly Myers. It will be on her podcast. I can't remember what it was called. Anyway, listen. Go check out my content. If you're on TikTok, make sure you hop onto my YouTube channel. That's where all the long form value is. You'll learn loads. And yeah, there we go. Anyway, peace out, and I'll see you all soon.